Arenado drives one in the air. Deep right field. It's got a chance. Grand slam.
Way back it might be. It could be. Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win. Holy cow.
The Dingers podcast is on the air. I'm your host, Mitch. I'm here with Jeff and Kevin. Wait, I have it going on in the background. Can you hear that? I'll turn that off. We're starting out just kind of how the Cubs season is starting out with this episode.
Well,
how are you guys tonight? You guys good?
Yeah, I'm great. A little tired, but that's to be expected. I get up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing all right, but it's like we're already here and we're 6 games in, and we already have to do an episode where we're complaining about the bullpen. Like we're already at the point of frustration. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just kind of frustrated, because I'll be honest with you, when the Cubs were up 6-2, like I cashed it in. I was like, walked away from the TV. I was like, all right, like, hey, it's close to 6 o'clock. I'm going to see what my wife's making for dinner. I go in the kitchen, like kind of just like, and then I come back and the bases are loaded and they're giving the game away. I was like, oh man, why? What are we doing? And that's where I'm at. That we're already to this point of frustration in the season.
I felt the same way. It was getting towards 6, and since I had a outpatient procedure, I had to quit taking my blood thinner, so I got to give myself shots twice a day. And 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. is when it happened. So I went upstairs to give myself a shot and warm up supper. By the time I got back downstairs, it was 10 to 6. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing all right. It's a busy time of the year. We got all the kids' sports all happening at the same time. Enjoyed my last free weekend of no soccer until middle of June, maybe. Depends on tournaments. Could go later. We'll know when we get there. But it was a good weekend. I saw my sister from Colorado. She had a wedding shower, but got to see her outside of that, which was fun. Got to have some wonderful Barntown brunch food and beverages. Enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the thick. We're just starting travel baseball, getting into the tournament season, and so we have our first travel baseball game on Thursday night. So my son's playing in that. So we'll be in the thick of it, just like Kevin, of traveling and getting all over for baseball. Busy baseball season coming up. I looked at my month of June, and it's like every weekend and every Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes like 4 games in a week. And it's like, oh, this is going to be a busy time. A lot of ball, a lot of baseball to be played. But man, let's get back to the Cubs. Cubs are 2-4 currently. After their 2 losses in Japan, they come back and they split with the D-backs. It's one that you feel like if you would have told me at the beginning of this series, we would have walked away with a split. We'd have been like, hey, we'll take a split. But then if you knew how we took a split, and that we had one game basically in the bag and we decided to just give it away, that's where this hurts a little bit more. And it's going to be like, I'm going to keep a tally of how many games we give away. They're like just free, like just losses, just like that we should have won. There were losses this year, to see how many towards the end of the season, as we're fighting for a playoff spot, that it's going to come back to hurt us. Cause this is going to be one we're going to remember. This is one that I know we're going to look back on and like, hey, that one game that we didn't make the playoff, missed out the playoffs. Remember that, like game 5 of the year, game 6 of the year. Do you remember that when we lost that at Arizona, when the bullpen just pissed it down their leg? And that's how where we're at.
I really thought after Tucker's home run that we gave ourselves some breathing room. And
right?
You'd think.
Yep.
Yeah, because was it 8-2 at like one point?
6-2.
6-2.
6-2.
6-2.
A
Yeah.
4-run lead would be safe, but little did we know.
All you had to do is get
Little.
6 outs. Just
Yeah.
6.
That was
Let's start here tonight. We're gonna go our 3 goods and we'll go 2 bads, just because I don't want to like get into the weeds of all the bads, because we could do that. Let's talk about the 3 goods so far this season that we've noticed with the Cubs. Let's start with you, Kevin. What are your 3 goods?
You want me to do all 3 or just
Yep.
one around the horn?
Shoot all 3.
All right. My number 1 good. We asked for it last year. We got it this year. Kyle Tucker is kind of a big deal.
Yes.
He is a lot of fun to watch. He's smashing the ball well. He's coming up in that spot in the lineup when he's got runners ahead of him, and he's not letting the moment get away from him.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
putting the ball in play. He's
And here
scoring
done
runs.
that.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm just loving. We're 6 games in. He's got 2 homers, and he had a little bit of a slow start. Like, I'm
Yeah.
loving it. Just taking off. So that he's my number 1. My number 2 is my guy Miguel Amaya, just picking up from last year, taking that catcher's position and running with it. He, the catcher was a problem position, especially early in the season, and he's just taking it. He's running away with it. He's got the pitchers doing what they're supposed to do, minus the bullpen, but everything else is going well. My number 3 is Shota. Just picking up kind of where he left off. He's had a couple rough spots. He's pitched around it, and then he still cruised. What was it? Is that Saturday? Yeah, he went 91 pitches. They kind of spread, like he went a little farther than I expected. I thought it was an inning or 2 before that. I told one of my sons, I was like, he's coming out after this inning, and he still popped out there and got 3 more outs. It was wonderful to see. Those are my
Sweet. Those are your 3. Jeffrey, what's your 3 goods?
Well, to expand on Kevin's, Miguel Amaya, he, I believe, has 5 hits this year, and 4 of them are doubles. So that's great. And I think we might have a viable up-and-coming third baseman, somebody to really plant over there at the hot corner, which is something that we haven't really had. Even when we had Chris Bryant, I didn't really ever think he was a great third baseman, but it was what it was. And then also the Cubbies pinstripes still look good.
they do look good, Jeff. That's nice.
That hasn't changed in a really long time. They still look good. Even when they play road and they're in their blues, the pinstripes still look good in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. My 3 goods are, number 1, Dansby Swanson. Dansby Swanson's been hitting the ball. And if we can get the version of Dansby that was in Atlanta and early with the Cubs the first year, like he's putting the ball in play. Looks like he's healthy. You'll get a Gold Glove out there at shortstop from Dansby, and so if he can get his bat coming along, like that will be huge to lengthen out our lineup and just provide a little bit more fear for the pitcher with this lineup, where last year, a lot of times you're like, okay, the pitcher doesn't fear this lineup. There's no spot in this lineup that they fear. Now they have Kyle Tucker. That is definitely a fearful spot. Like you're going to have to pitch around him. Like, I mean, I felt like for the Cubs and for us, every time Suarez was in on deck circle, we're like, oh crap. Like here's another dinger that we're going to serve up. And so, but having Dansby there of like just lengthening the lineup where you're like, okay, we might have to bring in a righty or whatever out of the bullpen. We can't maybe go to our crafty lefty. Like it's just those things. So like, I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing out of Dansby. Number 2 is base running. The Cubs base running is going to be one of the best in the league this year. When you look at this lineup and from 1 all the way down to 8, you have athletic dudes that are fast. You have Ian Happ. He can run the base as well. You have Kyle Tucker can run the base as well. Seiya can run the base as well. Then you get down to what I love the best part of our lineup is Nico Horner, PCA, and Matt Shaw. Bing, bang, boom. if those guys can work and get themselves on base consistently, it's going to be trouble on the base pass. You saw Matt Shaw score from first now twice on hits that were kind of in the gap, but not like deep in the gap that we had automatic score from first, where he's scoring from first base. You have PCA who stole a couple bases, just creates chaos on the base pass. Nico Horner's going to steal you some bases. Like, you have guys that if we can get guys on, singles up the middle are going to be extra bases because these guys are going to take them. And so that makes me super amped with just this offense. Is we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be amazing, because we're going to work ourselves into being really good base running team that's going to steal some runs. It's going to get us some runs and win us some ball games. And so that makes me feel really confident, is just our base running. And then the last is just Kyle Tucker. Like, that's my good. Like, we've wanted an A-lister, and we finally have an A-list star on our team. And what he's going to do is when we're struggling with the rest of the offense, he's going to help sustain that offense a little bit longer. When we're going through those struggles and where other people are hitting, where Seiya goes through a stretch where he doesn't hit, like, you'll have Cal Tucker that will be able to step in and provide that offense. If you go where Ian Happ has his usually struggles at the beginning of the season, he isn't this year, but like Cal Tucker can kind of carry the load for a while, just because like his swing is so sweet. Like, he doesn't try to do too much ever with it. And I mean, his tank that he hit yesterday, like, that was like a half swing, and he just unloaded on it. It was like, that is a beautiful left-handed swing. So it's those are my goods. Those are my goods. All right, let's get to the bads. Kevin, what's your bads?
All right. You said 2, right?
2.
All right. My first one, and I think it was Saturday, during Saturday's game, after Seiya's first at bat, I told my son who was watching it, I said, I want them to just tell him to swing at the first pitch every single at bat for a while, because they were grooving meatballs down the pipe, and he wasn't even offering at any of them. And he was starting every at bat 0-1. And it was so hard to watch. And then he was getting some edge calls against him, which tends to be kind of a thing that happens to him. But even Boog and JD were saying Seiya does his best when he's aggressive at the plate, and yet he wasn't. He was passive. He had a couple of hits on Sunday, which was great to see, because it was rough to start the season. So one of my bads is we got to get Seiya out of his, like, I know he plays the patient game. He's really good at it. Do like 2 solid weeks of swinging at every pitch, every first pitch. Just get it out there.
What you saw last year when he got super aggressive in like July or August, like, he went on a tear there. Like, every time he gets aggressive and he takes ownership of the zone and doesn't leave it up to the umpires to screw him on a borderline pitch, like, that's when he's more successful. We need to see Seiya like get back to that. And he was jacked for hitting his home run. Like, he was like, he needed absolutely. That. So hopefully he can take it with him to Sacramento tonight and get a home run with I'm calling them the homeless team, because literally they are homeless, and they're what is it called when you take over a house?
Squatter?
They're squatting in Sacramento right now until they can, like, nope, this is ours.
I called them today. There you go. I called them the Sacramento Triple A's. Today.
There you go. Sacramento Triple A's.
But yeah, so that was my first one. And my second one, besides the bullpen, it was actually Justin Steele. He's off to a bit of a rocky start. A lot of caveats, only 2 starts. He only 9 innings. It's been kind of rough. A lot of home runs, but he has faced the Dodgers, and that Diamondbacks lineup is going to be a problem for most teams they face this year. Same time, all those caveats there. He just hasn't looked super comfortable. You know, he usually has a little bit of that swagger when he's on the mound doing his thing, and he kind of looked almost like he's still in spring training mode a little bit.
Yeah, I'll give a shout to Everett here. Azer is American League team. So Everett, who are you cheering for tonight? It better be the Cubbies. Better be the Cubbies.
Better be.
Jeffrey, what's the bads?
Well, the bullpen for one thing. We always seem to start slow in that facet of the team. Always slow starters, and then they turn it on and become one of the best bullpens in the majors, and then we sell them off at the trade deadline for pieces of whatever. Sometimes end tables, cash considerations, fill the vending machine in the locker room, whatever. And then also, with Kevin said, some of Seiya's aggressiveness at the plate needs to be picked up a little bit. Sometimes it drives me nuts when you're watching a game and you see one coming right down the middle and they watch it. Like, these guys are professional ball players. You can't see that coming out of his hand and realize it's right down Broadway and you need to tattoo it into the gap. Come on now.
My bads are Jamison Tyone. That was a bad outing. Just a bad outing. They were feasting on him. Like, that ball looked like a beach ball to them because everything they were barreling up and putting it out there. So, like, Tyone needs to be better. If he's going to be our number 3 star that we're going to lean on, he needs to be better. And not even giving us a chance in that game from the get-go, like, that's tough. And like Scott says, JMO always sucks or stinks in the spring. He does. He is a kind of a slower starter.
It's our good buddy Scott from Iowa.
Yep, but we need better out of him. We need better pitching, and I don't want to say it's from the cold weather because we're in Arizona, and they were, I think, indoors for the night that he pitched. Like, he has to be better. And I don't know if maybe he just needs more work to get his arm built up. I don't know, but his ball looked flat. It didn't have much movement, and he was leaving things up and got absolutely hammered. Didn't even give us a chance. And I'm one that I firmly believe, like, the magic number 4, when the Cubs score 4 runs, we win a lot of baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
And that night, the offense didn't score 4, and he didn't give us a chance because he was giving up what did he give up? 6?
Yeah,
Is that
I
what?
think so.
It's a lot.
I think it was 6.
It's a crooked number.
It's not great. Like, that's where he has to be better. The other is the bullpen. The bullpen is here's where we're at so far with the bullpen. The bullpen's ERA is at an 8.34 ERA. The WHIP is 2.29. We have a 16.1 base on ball percentage. We have 22 walks in 20 innings out of the bullpen. And an average exit velocity at 92.2 off of our bullpen. Like,
yikes.
It's not great. And I think I saw a tweet too. Let me see if I can find it quick. It was the average here we go. So between those 3 relievers that pitched yesterday, do you know how much we're paying them total?
Ooh, I don't know.
Between those 3 pitchers, we're only paying them $5 million. For 3 pitchers.
We've got the bargain pricing bullpen.
Can we go to Costco?
So we get what we pay. We get what we pay for. They're pitching like they're combined worth $5 million.
Gross.
And so, like, I don't like to be on the, like, especially now that we're into the season, I'm sick of too many Cubs fans and too many Cubs podcasters that keep on harping about the money not spent from Bellinger. Like, I get that was an issue but I'm not gonna, once the season starts, keep circling back to that. I feel like that doesn't help us at all. Like, we're in it now. We either like, this is who we have. We're not going to do anything about it, especially now in April. They're not going to make any real trades or pick anybody up this late. Although David Robertson's still out there available. But I don't like to like keep going back to that. Like, oh, we could have spent money. Ricketts. Although it could be true, I don't like to do that personally, just because it's like, no, like, I want in the battle. This is my team. We got to get better. These guys have to get better. They have to perform. And the thing is, like, Eli Morgan, he's been successful in his past. The Indians did really well with him. So then it's like, okay, I've seen so many Cubs bullpen arms leave Cubs and go other places and be successful. Then I need to point the finger at the Cubs infrastructure of pitching. And maybe it's their fault. They don't know how to develop pitching. Because Eli Morgan did great with not the Indians, the Guardians, sorry. The Guardians, and now he's come to the Cubs and he can't get anybody out. Like, I don't know. The common denominator is the Cubs.
Give it time.
Yep. And he looked good. Did you see that first batter that he faced? I think he threw like a couple just wipeout changeups just to start out that first batter. I think he got him out. I don't remember.
And he did pitch well in Japan against the Dodgers. He had an inning or two over there and pitched well. I think he had 3 strikeouts in that game.
Well, and that's what I didn't understand. Were they trying to save Colin Ray? Is it Rhea or Ray?
Colin Ray.
Were they trying to save him for tonight to potentially piggyback off of Ben Brown?
I think so. And I think Merriweather. I think there's something with Merriweather. And you have to remember, like, Assad is hurt. Brazier is hurt, who would probably be leaning on a lot of those guys. And so if Merriweather is hurt, I don't know. He was up throwing a couple times in the 2 previous games. He was up throwing. So I don't know. But the bullpen has to be better. I do not trust Pearson at all. Like, Nate Pearson, like, that dude cannot throw strikes, and he throws hard. Yeah. But it's a struggle, or it's like just difficult to watch that dude get on the mound.
Yeah, I totally agree. He was a rough watch.
Really, the only guy that's out of the bullpen that's pitched great is Porter Hodge so far. Mm-hmm. He struggled in his first 2 batters in what night was it? Saturday night. But then got 3 outs right in a row, bing, bang, boom, and we were back in there. And then but Ryan Presley made it interesting. He hasn't looked sharp. Mm-hmm. So we're here already, guys. We're already frustrated with our bullpen. It took us 6 games.
We haven't had a week of baseball yet. Let's just calm down a little bit.
Calm down. We're giving away games. Just giving them away.
Not calming down, Jeff. Not calming down at all. We're walking too many of their batters. We're not throwing competitive strikes balls every time. Come on.
Never in the history of somebody saying calm down has anyone ever calmed down.
You calm down, Jeffrey.
I just, man. So let's move it on. The Cubs are taking on the homeless Sacramento AAAs tonight. It is, who's on the bump for the Cubs? It's Brown versus Estes.
Joey Estes. Yep.
Joey Estes. So, I don't know much about the A's. I do know they are much better than they were last year. And so a lot of pundits are picking them to get a wild card spot or win the West. So I don't know. A's could surprise you. They do have a couple mashers on their team that hit the ball really, really hard. So yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be like Rooker. Rooker's one who's the DH. Like he mashes the ball. Probably can try to pitch around him. So they're a good ball club. So I don't want to just like, oh, it's easy wins. Our April is just, we talked about last week when I was had that episode. It's going to be a tough April, and we just got to survive. So that's where it's like, and we give away a game that we should have won when we know that we have this tough schedule coming up. That makes that one hurt even more, because then it's like, okay, now when we're playing the A's against a lesser team, we need to even win these games even more. So, but who is sick of these 9 o'clock games?
Yeah. Amen.
I was telling
DVR shit.
I was telling my students, I was like, I went from watching a game at 5 o'clock in the morning to now watching a game at 9 o'clock, and probably like it'll end at like midnight. Can I, for the love of God, just get a 1:20 game, please? Like I need like a 7 o'clock game. Like it was nice on Saturday, but then it was a horrible game. Or no, that was the game they won.
Yeah, Sunday. Sunday was early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. I even waited until Saturday to re-up my marquee because I was like, I'm not watching Thursday or Friday's games. I'm going to bed so I can get up in the morning.
Whoever schedules the games, I'm sure next year's schedule is already panned out, but if we could play, like, start the season, like, let's say, like Tampa or Miami.
Yeah, let's go East Coast.
While we're waiting for Chicago to warm up and be more like summer, so we don't have cold, frigid Chicago games, that'd be great.
It has made it a lot better that we've struggled, but I have a student who's a huge Yankee fan, and so I've been tuning into quite a bit of Yankee games and watching them absolutely destroy the Brewers with the torpedo bats. I'm a huge supporter of torpedo bats as long as it's tagging runs on really poor pitching that the Brewers have. I think the Brewers have very poor pitching, and Nestor Cortez is not the Nestor Cortez of the Yankees.
You bring that up, and when I saw that 20-9 score, I'm like, cripes, the Brewers must not have any pitching this year. And then the article came out about the new torpedo bats, and I'm like, are they corked too or what? Jesus.
Right. The thing is, they've been in the league for a couple of years. And we have 2 players using them on the Cubs.
Yeah. I expect more home runs on a Horner then.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's why he was trying to swing for the fences last season.
Let's get an axe handle torpedo bat mashup.
Yeah. And I want to pump the brakes. I know the Cardinals are 3-0 right now, but they played the Twins, and the Twins played the White Sox today and got smoked. So the Twins are just that bad. When you're getting beat bad by the White Sox are hot. They have almost reached 40% of their win total from last year already in the first week.
Didn't Joey Gallo get cut by the White Sox?
No, he asked for a release because he's going to come back as a pitcher now.
Oh, okay. At what age?
Oh, I like that response. Oh, okay.
He's playing a Michael Jordan in his own sport, though. Like
I think he pitched. He said he pitched in high school and he could throw gas. So
I can see it. Why not?
All right, whatever.
All right. Well, that does it for our episode. But Jeff has a story he's going to tell us because
it's a great story. So this Friday I ruptured my colonoscopy cherry. So I'm at that age where it's time to start looking for that stuff or at that stuff for precancer stuff.
Don't describe it that way.
Yeah.
Rupture.
So we say burst, popped, whatever.
Not rupture.
You had a colonoscopy.
So anyway, I'm sitting in the waiting room for him to come and get me to take me back there to get prepped. And I'm reading this Our Iowa magazine, and I get to my favorite part where they have recipes, which this magazine is deemed for a much older demographic, but I enjoy reading it because people write in about the days of yore in my home state.
And you're old.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So I'm reading some of the recipes. I'm like, hey, I nudged my aunt. I'm like, hey, do you think you can make this? And she looked at it. She was, yeah, I can do that. So I started to try to tear the page out, but I thought, I'm going to wreck this magazine. So I just took the whole magazine and I shoved it. Yes.
Okay. Why didn't you do what any normal person would do is you grab your phone and you take a picture of the page,
I'm getting
and then you
that.
have the recipe. So like you don't need to try to rip the page out.
Listen, I
Use
wasn't thinking
technology,
clearly.
Jeff.
Here's what was on my mind.
You weren't
I'm gonna
thinking
be tired.
clearly. Something was gonna be shoved up your rectum.
That's right. So I just put this in my bag and stole the whole magazine. On the car ride home, I pulled it out and I tore the recipes out and I put the recipes in the back seat. And my aunt goes, I can't believe you stole that whole magazine. She goes, when you get done reading that, you give it back to me and I'm going to return it, which she will do. So she made me the dessert that I wanted. And then she also, thank God we didn't just take a picture of what I wanted, because she saw something she thought was interesting and she made it. I shared some of those with Kevin and Kevin thought they were really good.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
But what else? You went out to eat too.
Yeah. So I hadn't had anything to eat for like 45 hours. Like I had 12 Jell-O cups in 45 hours. That's what I had. So we went to this Mexican restaurant next door to a Culver's because my aunt is Catholic and it was Friday. So she got some fish tacos. So they had the water glasses were these giant red ones that reminded me of the Pizza Hut cups, which pop never tasted better than in the plastic red Coca-Cola cups. So I was finished with it. I said, hey, I'm going to throw this ice on the floor and I'm going to put this cup in your purse and I'm going to steal it.
Ice on the floor.
She goes, no, you're not. So the waiter comes by and goes, would you like more water? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. So he brings me another glass. So I'm like, now I got two. I'm like, we're stealing two.
Wait, how many of these could I get? Oh, wow. I'll be thinking like, if I just keep asking.
You're not stealing cups. She ordered me a half a dozen of these cups from Amazon. They were delivered to my door on Saturday. It's awesome.
So did you end up stealing the cups?
Huh?
Did you end up stealing the cups though?
No. Like she kept looking at me like the guy's standing there because he's counting the glasses that are on this table. I'm like, it's either that or the bowls of salsa that I've emptied. Two things.
Wait, so you went through a colonoscopy and the first thing you threw down was a bunch of salsa?
Tacos.
Yeah.
That's like
Mexican food. Refried beans, spicy, you name it. I figured what better way to pack it full.
Got a raw rectum, and that's what you decided to throw down.
Like, well, they shove something up there, so it's all cleaned out and ready to like go out of me.
Power washed.
Yeah.
Everett, this came from a hospital. See that? Mary Creeley Medical Center.
I like it. I like it, Jeff. Does anybody else want to look at the Iowa in the comments? I mean,
it's February, March 2025. It's the new one. If you want to look at it, just make a dentist appointment because I'm sure you'll see it there.
If you're in Iowa,
Iowa.
Every doctor's office has our Iowa. And what bird is on the front?
Goldfinch.
I imagine it's like the Eastern Iowa goldfinch because I think that's got a little bit of red in it, and I see some yellow and black.
I told you.
Yeah, I'm gonna start birding. I mean, I'm getting older. I got some binoculars I don't use, so I figured I'd dust them off and go stare at shit in trees.
It's birding or submarines, Jeff. You got your choice.
I'm also really into like World War II documentaries and smoking meat. So, you hit that plateau. It's birding, it's documentaries, it's slow cooking meat.
That's your life now.
That's what I do.
All right. Cubs need to take one tonight. Got Ben Brown, which I'm super jacked that he got the 5th star spot. He's gonna shove tonight. I'm really interested to see how his changeup works. He has a nasty curveball, a little bit of a slider, and a fastball, and he's been working in kind of like a third pitch, that changeup. So really be watching how he uses that tonight and how he can get some swing and misses because he needs to develop another pitch if he wants to be a starter. But I am really high on Ben Brown. I know his outing in Japan wasn't great, but he did make Shohei look absolutely silly in one at bat on a couple curveballs or sliders kind of at his feet. So Ben Brown's going to shove tonight. We're going to get a dub. Matt Shaw is going to, is he starting tonight?
Oh, we just closed that tab.
Have we seen
I
the
think-
lineup?
It's not him. It's either going to be him or Workman, right?
Well,
Or Birdie.
Shaw. Yep, Shaw's going to start. I'm going to call it. My bold prediction for tonight. Matt Shaw is going to get another home run. And Bush is going to have a big
Ooh.
night tonight.
I like it.
Bush is going to get off the schneid because he's been kind of scuffling, I think, to start. We haven't seen a long ball out of Bush, so I'm going to call Michael Bush getting a long ball tonight. He'd be my dinger
I
pick.
like it.
What? Now we're doing that?
No, but we're not bringing that back. Everett says Cubs win tonight 7-6. I don't like
a lot of runs.
and I don't really care for a really close game tonight, Everett. I would rather like a 7-2, 7-3 game. So let's not do the prediction of 7-6 because I just feel like that's going to be where the bullpen, we were up 7-1. I'm just picturing this game in my head. We're up 7-1. They bring in Nate Pearson again. He walks the bases loaded. And then we're bringing in Theo Bar. He might get us 1 or 2 outs. Now we have 2 outs and bases loaded. And then he gives up like a double. So I'm just like playing this in my head. So stay away from the 7-6 games. We're going to go with like a 7-1 win for the Cubs tonight. How about it? Who says no? All right. That does it for this episode. Thanks for listening and go Cubs.